That's my man Jumbo. He calls us on the space hymns. I guess you can call this out of this world. All right. Wanted to hit you guys with some space out of this world kind of stuff. Why? Because I don't know if you guys been living on a rock, but Mr. Elon Musk that just sent out civilians up in space? Just saying, right? So I thought guys with some space music, to celebrate that awesome event that just happened. Anyway, before we continue on with today's show, you guys got to do us a favor, a small favor, a very small favor. No, I'm not going to ask you for money. I'm not going to ask you for that because, I just don't do that. All I want you guys to do is hit that subscribe button. So right down there, hit that subscribe button. And then you also want to hit the bell, that notification bell. So you guys are notified every time we drop those new videos. So make sure you guys do that. You know what? I'm going to give you a few seconds to do that while I tend over here, okay? All right, perfect. Thank you guys for doing that. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate it. All right. Now, welcome to episode 18. 18. We're officially legal now. I mean, we can officially drive. We can officially vote. Can't drink alcohol yet, but we can officially vote now. Episode 18 of Real Talk with Coach Q and
Broker Wes.
Yes. Now, if this is your first time you're watching the show, I want to do a quick introduction. So my name is Qierre McGlory. I am a realtor, which means I get to help people buy, sell, and invest in real estate. And I'm also a coach where I get to coach people that are new into the business or people that are already in the business, crushing it, and they just want to get better. Now I'm going to let Wes share, let him tell you what he does. So Wes, let the people in the world know what you do.
Hey, it's Wes, y'all. And I am Broker Wes, aka Wesley Oliver. I am the mortgage wizard, the money man, the breaker of financial chains, the bringer of rain. And my goal is always to educate potential home buyers and other industry professionals, help create more home buyers, and celebrate new home buyers.
Well, I love that. I mean, honestly, who doesn't want to be celebrated, right? I mean, seriously, I haven't met anyone that does not want to be celebrated. So, yes, absolutely. So, what we like to do to kick off the show, I want to talk about success tips, motivational tips. Why? Because Wes and I truly believe in motivation, aspiration, and growing each and every day. So today I want to share with you guys a quote from one of my mentors, John Maxwell. And he talks about fear. Now, a lot of us experience fear in our life. A lot of us experience fear on a regular basis, right? And what fear does, it imprisons you, right? Fear is something that stops you from doing what you want to do. Fear is something that stops you from achieving what you want to achieve. Fear stops you from seeing that what you want to see. So what you need to do is to overcome fear, you have to understand that you have to, your why has to be bigger than your fear. Your drive has to be bigger than your fear. You have to, what I do, when I'm fearful about something, I take down notes. I write pros of why I should do this. I do what's called a pros and cons list, right? Like the reasons why I should do this, the reasons why I shouldn't, right? And that could be anything from maybe speaking in front of a large group of people, right? Maybe negotiating, a request for repairs for my clients, anything of that nature, right? Because obviously I can be nervous about that. It's like, what if the client says no, right? What if they get upset? But what I do is I make sure to, really take account of the reasons why I should do these things, because at the end of the day, it's going to benefit, my clients more, or in your situation, it may benefit you more, right? Anything that you want to accomplish, right? Maybe you want to, compete in like a bodybuilder contest, right? Maybe that's your dream. Go after it. Of course, you're going to have doubts and fears in your head. It's normal. We're human. But take, account of why you want to do these things. Because remember, at the end of the day, we only have one life to live. And the last thing you want to do is live with regrets. Because I guarantee you, fear has affected a lot of people out there. I mean, you drive by a cemetery, for instance. A lot of people that are laying there, unfortunately, fear got to them. I'm not saying that they died from fear, but a lot of things that they might have wanted to accomplish in life, they didn't. Right. So that's a constant reminder. You have one life to live to the fullest. You want to do something, go out there and do it. You want to see something, go out there and see it. You want to achieve something, go out there and achieve it. Don't let fear stop you. Because once you get past fear, that's when you truly start to grow. And that's truly where you find your happiness and your success. So Wes, drop some knowledge about fear. What do you get from fear, and how has fear, how you've been able to utilize fear to accomplish your goals and overcome fear?
Yeah, so typically for me, I consider fear to be an emotional or an illogical response to a logical situation. So for me, I always walk myself through the worst case scenario of taking that action, and how would I feel if that's what happened? How much would it hurt or bother me? And how would I recover? How would I move forward if I got the worst possible outcome from taking action towards something? And what you'll find most of the time is, once you enter that logic into the equation, it's not as scary as you thought it was going to be. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of time for me, I can remember when I was younger, you know, I'd never gone on the big rides, the grown-up rides at Disneyland. And I remember the first time I had to get on Space Mountain. And like I said, my worst fears about actually getting on Space Mountain were nowhere close to, you know, kind of the worst case scenario, whatever. And after I got off the ride, I was like, huh, that's what all the hubbub is about, huh? Let's go again.
You survived.
I did.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Yeah, it's great. So, like I said, I mean, we all experience fear, right? And, you know, definitely take account, the pros and cons about it. You achieving this, you doing this. Like, what's the worst can happen, right? Whether it's fear of getting on Space Mountain, or maybe fear of speaking to a large group of people, right? Whatever your fear is, definitely take time to write out the pros and cons, and also, make a choice to overcome it. Because, like I said, what's the worst that can happen, right? You'll never know because you didn't attempt it, right? And what's the best that can happen, right? The best case scenario, because that's also something. Obviously, with Wes being scared of going to Space Mountain, he got in it and he enjoyed it. Best case scenario, now he likes it, right? But just imagine he never gotten it, he would never experienced it. So don't let fear overtake your life. Overtake fear and start living again. All right, now we move on to the main event. Main event. Winter is coming. No, we're not talking about what was that the show you watched? What was it called? Games of Thrones.
Game of Thrones, yeah.
There you go. We're not talking about that. We're not talking about that. We're talking about in terms of winter is coming and how winter affects the housing market. So I'm gonna let Wes talk more about that. So Wes, winter is coming. How affect the housing market?
Yeah, so every year we see this phenomenon. We get toward the end of the year, you know, holiday season, and most of us get into the holiday mode or mindset right around, usually right around after Halloween, right? Because we got Thanksgiving coming up, and then of course Christmas soon after that, and then New Year's. So typically we see a lull in our industry. You know, a lot of real estate and other industry professionals start planning vacations and stop going to the office as much. We'll typically see less people putting their homes on the market and less people actually looking for homes for two major reasons. If you're the person trying to sell your home, do you want to deal with trying to relocate and move all your stuff and get settled into a new home during the holiday time? And of course, for people who are looking for homes, the question is, do I want to, especially if you have children, do I want to uproot my children in the middle of the school year and have them go through all that moving everything and trying to get everything resettled for the holiday time as well. But because of that, there are some specific benefits for people who are particularly looking for to buy a home. And this whole year, we've been talking about how much competition there is in the market and how many offers are being placed on, submitted for every home, and how much harder it's made getting your offer accepted. So this could be a key time and an important time to make things a little easier on yourself if you're a home buyer. Because number one, it could be less competitive. You could have less people who are going to continue to look for a home right now. They could just say, you know what, it's the holiday time. I don't really want to deal with moving anyway. And of course, we got the new year. We'll just make it part of our resolution, right? Also, there's going to be less open houses, more than likely, because a lot of people don't want a bunch of strangers trampling through their house during the holiday season, especially in the middle of a pandemic. So here's the situation where you could really take advantage of a great realtor and all of their connections with other realtors to be able to get you in those houses, get you appointments and things like that. But because there are no open houses, or they're going to be less open houses, you're going to have less people probably seeing those homes as well. Sellers could be more motivated, because if you do decide to sell your property in the middle of the holiday season, chances are there's a really good reason for it and you're really motivated to do it. They may have to relocate. They may have another property that they've already purchased that's ready to be moved into, and they don't want to pay 2 mortgages. Whatever the situation is, that could be helpful to you if you're a home buyer. You'll also probably be able to close faster because there will be less people, less transactions. So that's a good thing. There's also going to be less homes on the market probably. And also for first-time home buyers, what I've always realized and experienced during this time of year, now's a good time to find starter homes if you're a first-time home buyer. And I say that specifically because usually if you're a first-time home buyer, especially in Orange County, you're probably going to be priced into purchasing a condominium. And people who usually own condominiums a lot of times are single people. So they don't have the same considerations with moving kids during the school year and whatnot. So they might still choose to list their property during the holiday season because it's not the same inconvenience. So all in all, winter is coming, but unlike Game of Thrones, when the Night King is going to show up, this could be a good thing.
Nice. Like it. Like how you wrapped up that with Games of Thrones reference. That's great. I love it. Yeah. So definitely a lot of great information there. Because that's definitely what we typically see. We definitely do see, a slowdown during the holiday times because a lot of people don't really want to be moving, during the winter. And obviously Wes and I are on the West Coast in Southern California. So we don't really get a lot of that white stuff, like falls from the sky, in large numbers and in a lot of days, where obviously other places in the country get that, so our winter, is definitely a little different. But, talking to some of my colleagues like from New York and so forth, they normally between like October to like January, February, it's pretty much almost dead in terms of real estate market. So they normally have to hustle and bustle for at least like the first 9 months, of the year in order to have a great year. So luckily for us, we get to work throughout the year. But again, normally during winter, we definitely see a slowdown. So, if you are a seller, definitely right now is a great time for you to sell, because there's definitely a lot of buyers there. And what we're seeing is that obviously as we get towards the year, buyers start coming off the market. If you're dealing with less buyers, guess what? Dealing with less offers. So make a note of that. Went right September 17th. So as Wes was saying, right after Halloween comes, that's typically when we see the slowdown. So, Halloween's less than 2 months away. So if you sellers out there thinking, now is the time. And also for buyers out there, definitely keep your eye out there. And I had a conversation with a person a couple of days ago, and they're telling me, their family's telling them that they should wait. And they're asking me, like, should I buy right now? And I always go back to, something that Wes shared with me. 3 questions, right? Are you financially able to purchase a home now? Are you financially are you ready to take on the responsibility of a mortgage? Right. And then number 3, do you plan to live in this house for at least 2 years? Right. If you're saying yes, all those things, then to heck with everyone else is saying, this is a great time for you to buy it. This is the time for you to buy a home, because at the end of the day, it's your decision. It's nobody else's. So always remember that when it comes to buying or selling, it's what's best for you, not best for your friends, your cousins, your coworkers, or the little news anchors that you guys you watch on TV and on the internet. It's what's best for you. That's what really matters. All right. Now we move on to hot topics. Hot topics. All right. So, Wes, Picasso, second homes, vacation homes. Let's talk about it. So Picasso, tell us what Picasso is, because when I think of Picasso, I totally think of somebody totally different. But I'm sure you're talking about someone different than what I'm thinking of, right, Wes?
Yeah, so I came across a story about this company by the name of Picasso, and they have a really, I thought, creative approach to, as they put it, democratizing second home ownership, right? Most of us are just working hard to be able to afford one home.
That's a big word.
Right? Most of us are trying to afford one home.
Mm-hmm.
But we all know that there are benefits to also having a second home, not only in terms of maybe having a vacation home, somewhere where you can stay when you go on vacation, or if you want to have an investment property. And this kind of, provides all of those benefits without dealing with some of the baggage that comes along with having a timeshare. So Picasso is a company that came up with this. It was a company started by a few former executives that used to work at Zillow. They currently already have a valuation of 1.5 billion. They've raised $215 million in capital, and they already have, where's the number here? 200 million in managed real estate. So 200 million in managed real estate underneath their belt, which is pretty cool. So what they do, they bring together a group of 8 or fewer co-owners to purchase a single family residence, right? So what they do is, once you're one of those owners, you have access to the home throughout the year. You have 100% ownership. So the company, Picasso, does not own the home. All of the investors own the home, actually. But what Picasso will do for you, they manage furnishing, they deal with the repairs, they deal with the utilities, and they deal with property management, which I also thought was a great thing, because I know a lot of people who are interested in buying, a vacation rental, something that they can use for like Airbnb. They have a lot of questions like, well, how do I deal with that? Do I want to deal with that? So you actually have someone who would be able to deal with that for you. And then also, as an owner, you can book within 2 days, you can book your ability to use the home, or you can book as far out as 2 years. And that's pretty cool. The company's been around since October last year. And like I said, the great thing to me about it is it deals with a lot of the disadvantages for me that come with a timeshare. Because number one, with a timeshare, you only have access to 1 week, right? Usually a year, unless you pay for more. Number two, the other problem or challenge with a timeshare is, when you're finally ready to get rid of the timeshare, it's a very difficult thing to do. There's not really a secondary market for selling timeshares. I remember I used to do timeshare relief services once upon a time, and you could go on eBay and find people trying to sell timeshares for $1 and still not being able to give them away. So that's one of the cool things about this, is because you actually own the home. And if you want to sell the home, you can actually sell the home because someone's going to buy it. Now, here's why I say someone's going to buy it. Here's a few of the key places that they're active already and have properties: Aspen, Colorado; Scottsdale; Lake Tahoe; Miami; Palm Springs. They just got their first one in Spain. I looked at the properties they have available right now for purchase. They're in Corona del Mar, They're in Malibu. They're all over the place. And these are all, desired resort type areas. So really cool.
All right, Wes. It sounds like we need to do this, man. So let's put our ducks together, man, and let's let's get our Picasso one, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, it's interesting because you said there's 8 people, right? So I was
1
trying to
to
think in my
8
head, like
people.
mathematically, 1 to 8. There you go. I'm like, man, there's 8 people. Like mathematically, what was that? 20% be not enough. 15%. I don't know. It's kind of weird number. 12. But you said up to 8. So obviously, some people can have different percentages in terms of
Right.
value. How much they put in for it. But yeah, it's really cool, man. I like your reference with the with timeshares. Selling those for $1. That's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah,
but it's
good
cool
luck
though,
with
because
that.
like you said, you actually own it.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, so that's cool. Yeah, I like that. So Picasso. So would you just go? What's their website to check them out?
Picasso.com.
That's what I was thinking. But I would
Yeah.
totally think that would already be taken.
By the Picasso. By the painter.
I'm just saying, seriously, I would have. Yeah, it's awesome. But yeah, man, definitely check out Picasso. And you know what? Maybe we'll do an update, on Picasso, maybe in the next episodes and stuff like that. Maybe we be able to reach out to someone that's actually in Picasso. Not talking
Yeah.
about the painting, but a property, or maybe stayed at one of the Picasso places too. So yeah, thanks for sharing that, man. Picasso. All right. Now we move on to one of my favorite segments of the show, the West Files. And today, title of the show, it's Full Disclosure. So Wes, tell us about that. You want full disclosure? We want full disclosure.
Yeah. And as I always say, this is the part of the show where I try to take my own personal experiences with helping someone get financing or pre-approved. And there are mistakes that are made or lessons that can be learned that I can pass on to you guys so you don't make the same mistakes when you go to finance properties of your own. So that being said, I got to tell you, one of my favorite shows is Law and Order. And for those of you who don't know, it's a police procedural, but it's pretty cool because the first half of the show is split up with the cops that find the perpetrators of the crime, and then the second half is the district attorney that is trying to prosecute the criminals. And one of the things that you'll see in almost every show, they got the perpetrator of the crime on the stand. The DA is cross-examining him, and he trips them up, and he catches them in a lie. And their attorney is always shell-shocked, and they look like they're so upset. And here's why: because they did something or said something. There are facts that have been put into evidence that they did not share with their attorney beforehand. And now the attorney is being blindsided because the DA got the information, but they didn't get the information, all because the client did not provide full disclosure. Now, the frustrating part about that, I'm sure if you're a defense attorney, is your job is to protect your client. And the best way for you to be able to protect your client is for your client to share all the information with you, right? Because they can help you avoid those pitfalls and help you avoid incriminating yourself or perjuring yourself if they have all the information. So it's the same thing in our industry. So I had a particular client. I was helping with a refinance, and they were going through a remodel at the time, or renovation, a major renovation. And what happened was they had asked me to order the appraisal, like, hey, we're almost done. I said, okay. I ordered the appraisal. Then the next thing I know, I'm getting a notification from the appraisal company saying, we're not going out there because your buyer is only 90% done with the property. They have not gotten all their permits, and they have not gotten their final sign off from the county. Well, what that does, they already paid for the appraisal, right? And the appraisal was put on hold. Now we have a rate lock, their interest rate is locked, that is possibly going to expire before this is all done. Had they told me these things up front, I would have directed them to put off hold ordering the appraisal so that money was not wasted.
Mhm.
And I also would have locked their interest rate for a different period of time. But they didn't tell me that. Now, I will tell you, sometimes it's intentional and sometimes it's unintentional. Sometimes clients are afraid to share information because they have a feeling that it's going to impact how or what we will do for them. And sometimes they just don't think it's important. I will tell you, number one, don't do it intentionally. You should let your professional know, your real estate or mortgage professional know, so that they can best direct you on how to move forward and protect you, because the outcome's going to be the outcome, and the outcome's going to be worse if we can't help you because we have the knowledge to do that. And sometimes it's unintentional. And that's why I said,
Right.
if you think it might be, you know, pertinent in any way to the process of buying your home or financing your home, share it with your professional. That is the best way to deal with it. Unless you're laundering money, committing a crime, things like that. We're not like attorneys. We have to report stuff like that. But no, the point
Yeah.
is,
Yeah. Absolutely.
the point is full disclosure when you're dealing with your whoever you hire to represent you. Full disclosure.
Absolutely. I love that. Full disclosure. Absolutely. Absolutely. Now we move on to City Spotlight. All right. Now, today's City Spotlight is the beautiful city of Seal Beach. So let's give it up to Seal Beach. Now, Wes always talks the numbers, so this is when we actually flip it. So I'm talking about the numbers, and then Wes is giving you fun stuff to do in the city of Seal Beach. So looking at the current market in Seal Beach, you got about 110 properties for sale, which is actually quite large, for most cities in Orange County. So 110 properties currently for sale, about 32 days on the market. So a home comes to the market, takes about 32 days before it actually sells, right? Which is a little higher than what we've seen with cities. But what we're seeing is that the market has actually changed within the last few weeks. So we are seeing homes stay on the market a little longer. So, because I know initially when we started, homes were on the market for like a week or less, and now homes are staying on the market longer. So this 32 days is actually pretty relative right now based on what's going on with the market. Average home price is about 384,000, a little less than what we've seen, but again, Seal Beach, you definitely have a lot of single studios, 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom condos, and so forth, right? And the thing is with Seal Beach, I mean, most people want to live in Seal Beach because of why? The
The
beach.
beach.
Right. So median is about 70,000. And what we see in the city of Seal Beach, we also see more of a demographic of an older demographic. So we definitely see more, I would say, retirees in the city of Seal Beach. So we definitely see more of a larger of an older demographic in the city of Seal Beach. So Wes, what are some fun things you can do in Seal Beach besides going to the beach, of course?
Well, they have an annual car show. They have an arts and craft fair, Oktoberfest. They have a Christmas tree
October.
lighting. They also have a
Oh, that's
Christmas
nice.
parade. They have an Operation Military
Oh,
Christmas. They have a Thanksgiving meal project and event. The Cub Scouts pancake breakfast and barbecue. They also have the Run Still Beach, which is their 5-10K marathon. Then they have the Spring Fest and Egg Hunt. So they have a lot going on. As far as the education, you're pretty much going to be part of Los Alamitos. And then you can also dip into, of course, schools in Huntington Beach, which are very closely located. But the cool part is you're also very centrally located to a lot of junior colleges. So you have Cypress, Long Beach City College, Golden West, Coastline, and then of course you're pretty close to Long Beach State as well.
nice, nice. Love that. Love that. Seal Beach.
Yep.
Yeah. So if you guys have any questions about buying and sell beach, selling in Seal Beach, or purchasing investment property in Seal Beach, definitely feel free to reach out to us. We love the opportunity to assist you. So once again, let's give it up for Seal Beach. All right. Now we move on to our last section of the show, in the news. So we got the recall election, we got mandates, we got some other stuff that we'll talk about possibly. But let's start with the recall election. So Wes, give us your take on the recall election.
Well, as you probably know by now, of course, only 77% of the votes have been collected or accounted for, but Larry Elder has already conceded defeat. So the recall election failed by a number of 63.5 to 36.5. So that means that 63% of the Californians decided, or voting Californians decided not to recall Governor Newsom. If he was recalled, if the recall effort did succeed, then Larry Elder would be the new governor right now. If he ran away with it, he was at 47% of the electorate. The next closest was 8%. So we would have had a governor, Larry Elder, had it gone through, but it did not.
Wow, that's a huge margin, 47 to 8%.
Yeah, well, I think
Wow.
with recall elections, as we saw here, what was it, back in 2003 when Gray Davis was recalled and Arnold Schwarzenegger, aka the governor, won. You have a really short period of time to really get out there and market yourself. So name recognition is a big thing. And not only
Sure.
name recognition, but being able to get a large amount of donors and sponsors to support you in a short period of time, because you have so many people who will just throw their names and toss their hat into the ring. I mean, there was probably something like 30, 40 people this time around. I remember last time in 2003, Arnold Drummond, aka Gary Coleman, was one of the people running for the recall election for governor. So that is going to benefit someone who, number one, has access to people with capital, and number two, someone that people can already readily recognize. And that's why, in my mind, that's why Arnold won back in 2003, and that's why Larry Elder would have won this time around should the recall election have failed.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that's definitely a good point. So, and now I think we have like a year, right, before the normal election.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll definitely see what happens during that time. So,
Yep.
absolutely. Yes. Now we move on to the mandates. The mandates continue. So, Wes, what's going on with those mandates, man?
Well,
Mask mandate.
last week we told you about the new initiative that Joe Biden, or President Biden, had put into place. So, in reaction to that, now we have about 23 attorney generals, Republican attorney generals, that are in the midst of suing the president because of the mandate. So we just have to kind of keep a watchful eye out and see how it all shakes out. Now, I have a feeling at some point this is all going to end up in front of the Supreme Court at some point. We don't know how long it's going to be or whatever, but we'll see.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. Yeah, so we'll definitely see. Absolutely. I mean, obviously, I know both sides of it because obviously, I have friends and colleagues that are on both sides of the fence when it comes to the mask mandates. Obviously, some of them are good for the
Oh, we all do.
vaccinations. Absolutely, absolutely. So we'll definitely see how this shakes out because I think at the end of the day, I think we all want to be safe, right? So I don't think people are out there maliciously want to affect people, want to see people die. I don't think it's that. I think it's just people, feeling that they should have a right to choose whether they get vaccinated or not, right? So I mean, that's really what it really comes down to. So yeah, hopefully we'll have a happy resolve.
Yeah, I mean, everyone wants to be safe within their own level of comfort. That's, essentially what it is. And for some people, it's pretty simple. Their feeling about it is, I feel safer dealing with the potential of actually catching it actually catching COVID-19 and recovering than I do from a vaccine that's only been around for less than a year. So everyone has that right, and we'll just see how it all shakes out.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right.
Yes. Forgot one important thing about the mandates. I don't know if you heard in LA County now, there's going to be several types of businesses where you're going to basically have to show your vaccine passport to have access.
Yes, I heard that vaccine passport or the your negative test, right? Within like 72 hours or something like that.
Probably. I think that's it for large events, I believe.
Oh yes, yes. Like I believe they're doing it for Universal Studios and Six Flags. They're gonna be doing that. So yeah,
Yeah,
we'll
but
see. And obviously, like Wes was saying, is LA, Los Angeles County standard rules. So they haven't had anything for Orange County yet in terms of that. So
yeah, I wouldn't expect it here either, but yeah.
Yeah. So Wes, did you want to talk about the whole Nicki Minaj thing? Did you want to talk about that? We'll throw it out there. We'll throw it out there. Wild card. Wild card. Wild card. So Wes, what's Nicki Minaj saying these days? Besides rapping?
Well, I mean, initially her initial tweet, she was tweeting a few things out about the vaccine and those who are unvaccinated and whatnot. And initially, she basically said, do your research, take your time, make sure you're comfortable with it, whatever. The thing that got her in the media spotlight, because her first position is very reasonable, but then she told a story about a friend of her cousin who allegedly went to get the vaccine and had a bad reaction, which made him impotent, and his fiance dumped him because of it. So that created a big hullabaloo. Next thing you know, the health minister of Trinidad and Tobago is out saying that it's unsubstantiated. They haven't found anybody like that. And, so she's pretty much either under fire by major, media figures, or in some cases actually being supported by major media figures. So, everyone falls on different sides of that aisle. Pretty interesting. By the way, one thing to note that very few people have talked about in this particular situation, the vaccine that they're receiving in Trinidad and Tobago is not the vaccines that we're receiving here. I don't know how many people know that, but several different countries, like Cuba, I believe, for instance, developed their own. So it's not the same vaccine here that they have there. That's, number one. Number two, yeah, I mean, unfortunately with medicine, and at this point, like I said, the claims are still unsubstantiated, but we know that with any type of medicine, there are those like 0.0001%, occurrences that do happen. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't personally know any horror stories of people who've taken Tylenol, but I'm sure they're out there. So most of the time you just have to go with the data and your comfort level. You know what I'm saying? That's basically all you can do. But more importantly, and I just want to make this point, don't take your medical advice from celebrities. And I don't care if they agree with what you agree with or if they don't. It's just not a good idea. I mean, like I said, I had no problem with her saying, do your research, talk to your doctor. Perfect. But if some celebrity, by the way, that you don't know, I know it feels like you know them, right? Because I saw some of the people defending her. They're like, why would she lie about it? All I can say is you don't know her. She could be a compulsive liar. You don't know her like that, right? You just don't know. So, like I said, I would not take medical advice from any celebrity. I don't think it's a good idea that you take medical advice from any celebrity. Talk to your doctor, your medical professionals, your family, whoever's important to you involved in that decision, and make your decision that way. Because even if they might mean well, and even if they are right, you don't know that. You just don't know, and they're not usually qualified to tell you that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I can say it better myself. Absolutely. I mean, definitely do not take any medical advice from any celebrities. Heck, I wouldn't take any advice from any celebrities, period, right? I mean, seriously, that's why we have professionals, right? I mean, that's what it really comes down to. And again, you know what? That story sounds like a really good plot for a movie, though, Wes. I gotta be honest with you, right? Like this guy, excited about getting married, right? Maybe instead of him getting a vaccine, maybe he goes to like on like some crazy bachelor party, right? And he tastes this drink, and all of a sudden, becomes like infinite. That sounds like a crazy movie, right? I'm just saying, man. Let's take that story and we can make a movie out of it. I'm just saying, right? Yes, but really though, I mean, when it comes to the vaccination, at the end of the day, take time. Whatever you decide to do, do it. Do your own research and really feel comfortable about you making the decision. I mean, that's what it really comes down to at the end of the day. So
Yeah, and as I watch certain people make up these these fantastical stories or come up with like conspiracy theories and all that, and every time I see that, I think, guys, it's okay. You can just say, I don't feel comfortable doing it. And that's all good. You have that right. You know, there's no need to find conspiracy theories or, what I mean, to come up with these diabolical plots and everything like that to figure out how, they're purposely trying to harm you or whatever. It's just you're an adult and you have the right to make that decision with between you, your family, and your medical professionals. You have the right to make that decision. And what a great country we live in that you do have that right.
absolutely, absolutely. All right, guys. Well, that's all the time we have for today's show. Definitely appreciate all the comments, likes, and shares. Thank you guys for tuning in and all that great stuff. Hope you have a great weekend. Shouldn't be too hot this weekend, but don't quote me on that because it seems like the weather changes, right? 1 minute they're telling 85, next minute it's like 97. So definitely enjoy yourself. Stay hydrated, keep safe, all that good stuff. And then remember, thank you guys. All your comments, like, and shares, and make sure to subscribe if you have not. Subscribe, hit that notification bell, all that good stuff. And until next time, see you on the next episode.